Welcome to New Vision TV News. I am Ruthina Sejo, broadcast from the New Vision newsroom. We'll take a look at the news around Uganda, around East Africa, around the world, and later in this bulletin, we shall take a look at our Daily Pulse of Africa series and also a special report. We start off with the news around Uganda, where we'll look at stories making news across the country. We start off the bulletin from Bulisa district, where the EBOLA task force has run broke after exhausting 228 million shillings that had been allocated for EBOLA case management. The district health officer, Dr. Nelson Naise, said the money was used in sensitization, mobilization, and supervision and case management. He said they have been receiving suspected cases in the district, although results have been testing negative. Among other activities carried out were weekly EBOLA preparedness meetings, surveillance and monitoring, as well as operationalizing of 5 screening points. Dr. Naisa say they have remained with simulation exercise, which will be carried on June the 20th, 2018, so that they submit the accountability for the first batch of funds in preparation to receive the second batch. He said health workers in the health centers to operate by sharing jig and gloves with the EBOLA screening team at screening units than waiting for specific items from the government specifically for EBOLA exercise. Dr. Naisa say they have already identified a place where an isolation unit will be set, which is outside the Bulisa General Hospital, but it needs immediate purchase of chain links for fencing security and staff members. Let's move on to Mukono district, where the police are holding a 45-year-old man for allegedly pretending to be a lawyer, yet he was not. The district police commander, John Rukoto, says Samuel Asasha was arrested from Kauku village in Busana sub-county, where he had organized a meeting that was attended by local leaders. The meeting, attended by over 40 leaders, ended prematurely after police stormed the venue. They were accompanied by officials from the Justice Center, Uganda, where Ashaba claimed to work. The Justice Center manager in charge of Mukono, Pamela Akelo, say they got a tip from one of the concerned leaders in the area who contacted her on phone and informed her that someone had called a meeting of leaders in the name of Justice Center of Uganda. News from Gulu: a journalist has registered a criminal assault case against the Aru County Member of Parliament, Samuel Odonga Otto. Geoffrey Ojoko Court, a journalist with Radio Speak FM in Gulu Municipality, accuses Odonga Otto for physically assaulting him. The police say Otto will be issued with criminal summons and will record a statement anytime the file is ready. The district police commander of Gulu, Emmanuel Mafundu, says he has not seen a file, but promised to get details and act on it. Ojok stated from the hospital bed at Gulu Regional Referral Hospital on Tuesday that the legislator attacked him, boxing him many times in the neck, while he, Ojok, was covering the Fufa drum match between the Acholi and West Nile at Pecha Memorial Stadium on Sunday. However, Otto denies assaulting the journalist and threatens to sue the journalist for defamation. News from the capital, Kampala. Now, to ensure that Somalia is fully prepared for one-person, one-vote universal elections in 2020-2021, the African Union Mission in Somalia has organized a 4-day workshop on electoral security and dispute resolution for senior government officials involved in election planning and management. Uganda's Electoral Commission chairperson, Justice Simon Byabakama, who opened the workshop on Tuesday, emphasized the importance of security in holding successful elections that were peaceful and credible. Justice Byabakama said the electorates must be secured to enable them to exercise their right to vote.
The entire process of organizing and conducting elections is a multi-stakeholder responsibility, requiring that each of them renders total support and cooperation to all the efforts in place to realize the desired goal. Successful elections in general provide the foundation.
Somalia plans to hold the next election through universal adult salvage, unlike the previous ones, which were based on the clan system. AMISOM is currently helping Somalia develop capacity by training and providing technical support to the National Independent Electoral Commission of Somalia and other critical government agencies in election planning and management. The workshop being held in Kampala is aimed at developing a common strategy on how to organize and manage the country's next elections to ensure they are peaceful, credible, and inclusive.
AU Peace and Security Council that met in May and the UN Security Council that met again at the end of May mandated us to work with the federal government of Somalia in the United Nations to support the electoral security and the process in order to achieve a peaceful, free and fair election within Somalia.
The NIEC chairperson Halima Ismail Ibrahim echoed the sentiments, saying security will be a major factor in Somalia's quest to achieve universal adult suffrage in the next elections. Ibrahim observed that the Electoral Commission was currently verifying voter registration centers, adding that the country's security forces will have a major role to play in securing the voting process. In Soroti district, now shock and grief engulfed the residents of Oradai village at Chetagwen parish in Soroti district when a woman was found dead in her house on Tuesday evening. It is suspected that Joyce Mary Adiako, a mother of 5, was killed by her husband David Awumo. Moses Odoi, the LC1 chairperson of the area, said he called the police to break the door after one of the children informed him that their mother's bedroom was locked, yet she was missing. Omo has been running cassava grinding mills in Soroti town, and the clients who went to her workshop on Tuesday morning expecting to get service only found the workshop keys on the floor and she was missing. Coming in from Arua district, now the heavy rains that have increasingly continued to ravage different parts of West Nile with flooding have massively destroyed sections of the road in the region. A drive from Arua via Rhino Camp refugee settlement connecting to Ivempi refugee settlement connecting to Yumbe via Bidi became hard, and motorists were forced to remove their shoes and fold their trousers to rescue sinking vehicles. Among the people stuck in the mud was the Deputy District Internal Security Officer for Arua, Stephen Dravu, a father to Minister of State for Investment Evelyn Anite, the Member of Parliament for Lower Madi Ismail Ogama Ali, the Secretary for Production Arua Natalia Drateru, the 505 Brigade Commander West Nile Region Lieutenant Colonel David Opera, the RPC Christopher Barugahare, the regional CID Herbert Wanyoto. Now the officers were going for a security meeting in Yumbe. Closing off the news around Uganda is a story from Mbara district where hundreds of people turned up at Mbara Municipal Council to pay their last respect to David Bashakara, the former town clerk of Mbara Municipality. Now Bashakara, 71 years, died on Monday after battling diabetes. Giving their tributes, many speakers, who among them was Mbara Municipality Mayor Robert Kashewezi and the area MP Michael Tusime. They attributed the growth and development of Mbara town to Bashakara's citing a number of developments like the taxi park, the bus park, acquisition of Mbara Municipal Council, Health Center 3, and the recovery of Horizon Land, among others. Bashakara is remembered as one of the longest-serving town clerks of Mbara Municipality. He served in the local government for about 35 years. We now move on to stories making news around the East African region. We start from Kenya, where in what seems like countering Deputy President Ruto's countrywide tours, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga planning national tours to campaign for development and national cohesion. According to the Star, a Kenyan newspaper, this seems to be a move to mark their handshake in which they buried the hatchet after the disputed 2017 presidential election. Ruto has been traversing the country talking about development, but political analysts say he is campaigning for 2022. There is a rife speculation that President Uhuru could back Odinga in the next election. Their fathers, Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, were principal players in Kenya's politics but fell out. After independence, Jomo became president with Jaramogi as his vice president, but was edged out in political machinization. In later years, Jaramogi, until death, unsuccessfully tried to become president. His son, Raila Odinga, has made unsuccessful attempts too in the recent years. Now, Kenyans will wait to see if he succeeds in 2022 with or without Uhuru Kenyatta's backing. News from Tanzania. Now, instead of criticizing the national budget, the opposition in Tanzania has gone a step further to demonstrate how they would have planned for the country's spending if they were in power. They have done this by unveiling the 29.03 trillion Tanzanian shilling budget. Now, last week, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Philippe Mpango, presented the 33.3 trillion Tanzanian shilling budget. The figure shows that had the opposition been in power, it would spend less than John Magufuli's government. Presenting the alternative budget, Deputy Shadow Minister for Finance and Planning, David Silinde of Momba Chedema, said the opposition would have spent 20% on agriculture, another 20% on industry, and 15% on education. News coming in from Burundi. Now, Burundi has suspended the country's last independent civil rights group, accusing it of disturbing peace and public order. The ministerial order applies to Pachema, an NGO which campaigns for good governance. In Southeast Sudan, Southeast Sudan intends to borrow $500 million from the Afrexim Bank to pay salaries for public servants and fund infrastructure projects. Michael Kawewu Leuthi, the Minister for Information and Government spokesperson, said the cash would also be used to boost agriculture and fund peace process. Let us stick around in Southeast Sudan, where 37 police officers are under arrest for illegally collecting money from foreigners, the Minister of Interior has said. Now, the Interior Minister, Chiajiek Gay, has said there are some few criminals in the police who are giving the country a bad name. Gay said, and I quote, "They are mixed and some criminals, in fact, made their way into the police. We have good people, we have good officers, we have good young people, but also we have many criminals." We now take a look at the stories making news across the world. Now, from the US and also China, US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping have agreed to meet at the G20 summit in Japan next week, raising hopes for the trends in the brushing trade war between the world's top two economies. The two leaders spoke on the phone on Tuesday, weeks after negotiations broke down when Trump accused Beijing of reneging on its commitments, hiked tariffs on $200 billion in Chinese goods, and then blacklisted Chinese telecom giant Huawei. In Britain, now Brexit figurehead Boris Johnson appears the most likely next British Prime Minister. Johnson emerged unscathed from the TV debate against his four remaining rivals. The former Foreign Minister kept his cool and made no evident stumbles in a showdown that followed a second-round ballot in which he grabbed more votes than his three nearest challengers combined. News in France. Now, France has the lowest levels of trust in vaccines globally, according to the world's biggest survey on public attitudes towards health and science, which was published today. A third, which is 33% of French people, do not agree that immunization is safe. And it is also the only country where a majority, 55%, believe science and technology will reduce the total number of jobs available. That is according to the poll of more than 140,000 people across 144 countries. The survey of people aged 15 and older was devised by Wellcome, a British medical charity, and conducted by Gulu World Poll between April and December 2018. That is it for the news around the world. We now take a short break, but when we come back, we shall take a look at what's making news in business.